Okay, guys, when you say that you don't think he wants you to read anything, you don't think he wants you to read Nietzsche, then firstly, have you noticed his bibliography on his webpage? He actually shares his favorite books, and in his lectures, he very often makes references to the sources. And when students ask him how to go forth, if they wanna develop themselves, he usually gives the answer that you have to read the classics. You have to set up a foundation on which you can then specialize. But you have to have a big picture that is solidified by reading the classics. And this is also what you can observe when you look at the commentaries and the study groups that have been building around Jordan Peterson. He's the first public intellectual I'm aware of to have such a huge number of followers who are not just repeating whatever he's saying, but who are discussing the literature that he's citing. They're taking up the books and they're reading the sources and discussing the sources. I've never seen anything like it before, and this is something that I've been missing in integral theory, where often the theory had been taken to be a replacement for studying the very sources. So you end up with the ability to take certain perspectives, but you never fill the perspectives with actual content. You never fill them with actual objects to be seen, which only happens if you study the sources, if you really do the practices or take up the injunctions, as Wilder says. I think in the integral communities, this has been, or maybe it just seems to me, but it has been lacking, and it has been criticized a lot by many. Like even the critics have admitted that within the integral communities, people are not so really eager to look up the sources themselves and draw their own conclusions. But with the Peterson fans, I don't know. I think to a surprising degree, they are really delving into the sources and studying them together. And I think this is the big potential of the movement. This is what gives me hope here, that people are not just interested in having a grand theory that explains everything to them, so that they don't have to study and to engage with the world. But it seems to be the opposite. They are using this grand theory as a first orientational teaser that actually makes them interested in the sources and makes them interested in finding their own way through these materials, while they are using Peterson's models as a basic orientation to help them have at least a first sense of what to expect before reading something. So I have a very different impression here. I don't think Peterson is trying to substitute studying the sources, but I think what he's trying to do is what actually Wilber is trying to do, to give you a first introduction and make it easier for you to get through the sources without being all too frustrated, because it's not only simply fun, but studying this material most of the time is actually very, very challenging. And unless you have a big picture, I think it's very difficult to really sustain it and not give up pretty soon. So that's my impression here. I'm absolutely sure he wants you to read the sources, and not only his self-help books.